Hello everyone, and welcome to our session today on eOne SmartConnect, a better choice for D365 Business Central and NAV integrations. Joining us today is Alicia Beaumont from eOne. And before I pass it over to her, I would like to let you know that the session is being recorded and it will be posted to our on-demand library later this week for you to review and share. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type those into the questions box and we will get those called out and answered for you at the end of our presentation. So I'll turn it over to Alicia to kick off our presentation.
Perfect. Thanks, Angie. So today we're here to talk about SmartConnect. So what is SmartConnect? Why would you use it? And we're also going to have a little bit of a demonstration that I'll have you take part in as well. So you can see that I'm not making anything up here, and we'll have a little bit of fun with this demonstration as well. So for today's agenda, we have what is SmartConnect? Like I said before, we're going to discuss what is it, why would you use it, different scenarios that you may use it for as well. We'll have it demo, we'll go over some resources that we have available, one of the biggest one obviously being Innovia, and then we'll also save some time for Q&A at the end. Okay, so SmartConnect is our no-code integration, migration, and automation solution. So without all the buzzwords, what that means is that basically we give you a tool that an end user or a functional consultant is going to be able to use to be able to create integrations, right? Being able to move that data from point A to point B without needing a developer on staff. Okay, so we give you that functional tool that works really well between different systems. Let's talk a little bit more about these different systems. So this diagram, I think, depicts a really good image of what you can use SmartConnect for. So if we look at the top here, underneath our data sources, we're going to be able to see a lot of different data sources that we have available, whether that's Business Central or NAV. Maybe you have information in a Salesforce or Dynamics 365 CRM. Maybe you have expenses that you want to integrate from Concur and push those into NAV, any sort of file format. And the one big thing I want to point out here are these web services, right? So there's so many different cloud apps out there now that are available. If it has a web service that we're able to use or an API, we're going to be able to connect to that. So if you don't see your data source or destination for that fact on this diagram, it does not mean that we can't integrate to it. There's hundreds and hundreds of different systems out there that we've integrated to. We just can't put them all on here. And these are more the most common ones that we see on a daily basis. So after you have your data source, right, where you want to grab that data from, then we need to have a destination. Where do you want to move that data to? So whether that's Dynamics NAV, Business Central, CRM, Salesforce, etc., you're going to see a lot of the same destinations as your data sources. Okay, so now we have a data source and a destination. Now I'm going to move up to this transform box. And what that means is, okay, so we have a data source and destination. You might have the same data source and destination as hundreds of other places, but you need to be able to transform that data specific to your business, right? Because every business is completely different. So through transforming data, you can do things like entity lookups, maybe calculations. In the example that I'm going to show you today, I'm going to actually take a first name and a last name off of a simple e-commerce website platform, and I'm going to join those two together to make a full name. So simple things like that. If I do have more technical people on the call, we also have the ability to add in your own .NET scripting. You can also do things such as rolling columns, maybe grabbing that next invoice number or order number. We can also do pre-run validations, right? Maybe we want to validate that this data is even good before we push it into our data or into our destination. We can also chain maps together. So for example, let's say I want to create an order. The first thing I need to do is I need to be able to create a customer or maybe a vendor before I can actually create an order for that customer. So we can chain maps together to trigger off of one another. All right. So after we've transformed that data and made it specific to your needs, then we go up to this triggers box. And basically all that's saying is, when do you want that integration to run? Okay. So maybe we want the integration to run real time. Maybe we only want to track the changes since the last time that integration ran. We can also manually run integrations from within SmartConnect or from within our Excel add-in. And I'll touch on both of those here in just a bit during the demo. For those more technical people, you can also call the web services or call the SmartConnect web service as well. And you can also schedule integrations, right? So in our office, we have a lot of different integrations that run in the background that nobody even touches. So for instance, we have a project map that when somebody purchases support hours off of our website, it runs every 6 minutes. And so it goes to check to see if anybody has purchased support hours in the last 6 minutes. If they have, then it'll run a new integration for us, letting us know that and creating the invoice for us. So just a couple of examples there. All right, so we're going to actually go into a demo here. And our demo scenario is we're going to actually take information from an e-commerce website, and we are going to paste and we are going to move that data from that e-commerce website into Dynamics NAV or Business Central. And I'm going to call it NAV in this case, but it, you know, how they kind of merge. So to save a few words, I'll say NAV in this case. And we'll also have that data moving into Dynamics 365, and I'll call it CRM for saving my breath as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a link here into the chat. And it's going to bring you to this page, okay? So this is just a simple e-commerce page that we whipped together before this demo, and we're going to call it Alicia's Apple Fritters, okay? So if you want to order a subscription, maybe you have apple fritters delivered to your door every day or every month or yearly, certainly feel free to enter your information on this site. So I'll do the same thing. Okay, and it's going to create that email address for you, so you don't need to change that. And it doesn't matter what membership level you pick. You can either do general or VIP, and then you can just hit submit. Okay, and so I'll wait just a couple minutes here until everybody gets their orders submitted. And while I'm waiting for everybody to get their orders in, basically in the background here, what's happening is SmartConnect is taking that information that I ordered or that I entered, and it's creating an order inside of Dynamics NAV. The other thing that we're doing is we're creating a marketing list inside of our CRM system. So that way we can see that, okay, your membership is only being delivered monthly. You're only getting apple fritters every month. Maybe we want to see if you want to get them every other week. And so we're trying to, you know, gather more information in our CRM system as well to do some future marketing towards you. So let's go ahead, take a look, see who put in some orders here. I'm going to go into my sales order, and I'm going to see a lot of different people have actually entered their information. So since Angie was so kind, I'm going to pick on Angela here, and I'm going to open up her customer information. And you can see here that we actually don't have an address. So how am I going to ship those apple fritters to her? So let's go ahead, enter an address for her. Oops. There we go. All right, we'll put you in Fargo, North Dakota with us, and I'll click OK. You'll be able to have frozen apple fritters by the time that they get to you. So in the background, what's happening is now that I entered that address information, I actually have another integration that's set up to move that data into our CRM system now. So now we have two different systems talking between each other. So not only did we bring in that initial data, we're also now modifying some of that data. Okay. Actually, let me just move this full screen here too. There we go. Okay. So if we go into our marketing list that I had mentioned we created, we're going to also see those same people that entered their data into that e-commerce site. Okay, and I'm going to pick on Angela again here since that was the record that I updated inside of Dynamics NAV. And you can see that we created a contact and we also created a company. Okay, so here we go. We're going to have this data come in. I'm going to refresh this just another time. And I'm going to enter a phone number as well. I'm going to save that. And when I'm saving that information too, I'm actually having another integration run in the background that's going to take this phone number and it's going to actually pass it back into Dynamics NAV. So we're going to see here in just a second a two-way integration. Okay, so we can see here that that address came in from Dynamics NAV that we had entered. So that way we can mail out maybe more marketing material, that sort of stuff, or actually get her apple fritters every month. Okay, so as mentioned before, I also had another integration run once I put a phone number in. I have that integration now pointed back to Dynamics NAV, and that's going to go ahead and update a phone number in our system. So if I go to Angela's record here, we can see now that that phone number is also over in Dynamics NAV. Okay, so the biggest thing I want to point out here is that it's not just between NAV and CRM. Okay, maybe you have a Magento or a Salesforce or a different e-commerce platform. I just really want to get you thinking about data moving in between systems, maybe something that you would have manually had to move from one point to another. Okay. So I'm actually going to go into Excel now, every accountant's favorite place or every system to work in. So we can see here that we had a bunch of orders come in, okay? And these are all those sales orders that were created. And I'm going to update the price of your membership. That seems kind of a lot for apple fritters. So let's say a couple of these people will charge $15 a month and the rest will charge $20. Okay. And Albert Einstein, he's still willing to pay the full $100 a month for his apple fritters. So all I'm doing here is I am just going to take information from any Excel spreadsheet. And we have an Excel add-in here that we're able to actually push this data back into NAV in this scenario and update those orders, okay? But it's not only limited to NAV. Maybe you have, maybe you pull out all your customers and you want to update all the Wisconsin states to WI, okay? Maybe you have items that you want to pull out of NAV and you want to do a price increase adjustment and you want to update everything 30%, push it back in. So there's lots of different scenarios that you can use this Excel add-in for. One of my favorites is another example of how we use it in-house. We actually get customers that still pay us via check. And so, you know, we probably get 10, 15, 20 checks a week yet. And our accountant actually pulls in all of our open invoices, and she's able to enter all the open invoices just in an Excel spreadsheet and then push that run map button, and it goes and updates and applies all those checks to all those invoices at one time versus opening each one manually. So when I talk about using that Excel add-in, think about how you're spending a lot of time maybe doing duplicate data entries and that sort of thing. This is a really big time saver. Okay. So we can see here that Angela's invoice is now only going to be $15 a month. Okay. So we updated that data, a little bit less expensive. Taste, maybe she can order some other foods from our website down the road. Okay. Another thing that I want to show you, since we are on Excel, eOne has created a lot of different templates that are available free of charge. Okay, so when you purchase SmartConnect, you also get all these templates free. Okay, so I'm just going to show you one of them. This is a common one that we see people use. This is a simple item journal. Okay, so let's go ahead, add a new item in. We're going to say it's a sale. Maybe we should do 4 rims unless it's a bike. And we'll pick it from the green warehouse, okay? Like I said, simple item journal. These are pre-configured so that way you don't have to do a lot of the work in the background. And it's gonna work the same way as our Excel add-in. Basically, once we have that data entered, we're just gonna hit run map, and it's gonna say, all right, this map was successful, or that integration was successful. And we're gonna be able to go back into NAV and take a look at the item journal. And we're gonna see those 4 rims here located in the green warehouse, okay? So we also use this one a lot internally for journal entries. So every month we actually save different spreadsheets, and our accountant just goes in and essentially changes the numbers every month. So a lot of fun tools there. Okay, so I'm sure there's people on this webinar that want to learn what's actually powering all those integrations. So let's take a look at SmartConnect itself. So I'm going to open up a map, and a map is what we use to obviously create those integrations. We start with our data source, much like I had started off in the beginning on that diagram, if you remember. We start off with our data source, okay? In this case, when we enter that information off of my website for my apple fritters, it was a bulk data load, but we could have had it set as a changes only or a real-time event. And then of course, our data sources that I had mentioned before, whether that's those API, Salesforce, CRM, etc. In this case, we actually have a little bit of a unique data source, and we have a multi-data source. So what we're doing is we're taking data from an Azure SQL Server, okay? And we're also taking data from NAV, okay? Because we're grabbing that information, any order that last came in today, we want to pull in that data, okay? So we set some criteria up there. And then, since we have 2 data sources, what we did is we linked these tables together, okay? So you might also see any sort of, custom tables or CRM or Salesforce, any type of those objects on these tables as well. And it's simply, you're just gonna drag and drop it on here, and it becomes a virtual SQL table for you, okay? And once again, you're able to set up that different criteria. So here we have set up, okay, if the customer doesn't exist, then we want to create a new order inside of NAV. If it does, then we don't want to create a new order. So that's the criteria that we had set up for today's demo. One thing I'll mention about that too is that virtual SQL table basically eliminates the need for staging tables, right? Maybe there's some people on the line that are familiar with those, so a lot less steps for your data to have to flow through. All right, so now we had our data source. Now we're going to say, where do we want that data to flow to? And in this case, obviously, we had those orders going into Dynamics NAV, but once again, all those different options available. And underneath the settings section, this is going to be any web service that you have published inside of Dynamics NAV or inside of Dynamics Business Central. Okay, so as long as that page web service is published, SmartConnect is going to be able to go in and use that as a data source or a destination. Okay, so in this case, we chose our sales order. Obviously, we had a bunch of different other web services that were published too. And then you're going to see that service URL show up here. Okay, so let's go into how we actually mapped this integration. Okay, on the left-hand side, you're going to see all of your source columns. Okay, you're going to see where all that data came from, right? On the right-hand side, you're going to see all of your destinations. So our NAV in this case. On the left-hand side, you're also going to see any sort of translations that you did. If you had remembered from earlier, I had mentioned we did a calculation. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we did that calculation. In this case, what we did is we added a first and a last name together, right? If you remember on the initial form, we had you fill out first name, last name, and then it created an email address, and then you submitted it. So this is how we created that first and the last name. We added them together. You can see here we did a little bit of scripting, but if you're not a developer or don't know how to do any scripting, we also have some pre-built functions available for you. So if I wanted to add that first and that last name together, I can go ahead and do that and validate that scripting here as well. Okay. So there's lots of different options for you here. And if you are a developer, this can become really powerful for you and take a lot less time to get those integrations completed. All right, so any sort of translations that you do, it's going to show up over here in your source columns. And then basically, it is a drag and drop from your left-hand side to your right-hand side in order to create those integrations, okay? If the other option is also to do a drop down, okay, if you wanted to change that integration point. And the same instance, if you didn't like how you had that mapped, maybe the integrated to a cross-reference number doesn't make any sense and you accidentally map that, you just simply hit the delete button and it's going to delete that integration for you. Okay, a couple more things here. Underneath our task tab, this is where we can do pre-map tasks, we can do post-map tasks, and we can also do tasks on the document level. Okay, so we can do things around archiving. Maybe you want to copy or delete or move a file. Maybe you want to send an email. This is a very popular one, especially for those people that have scheduled integrations, right? Those ones that you see moving in the background, it's completely hands-off. Well, sometimes it's still nice to know what's going on. Is SmartConnect successful? Is it failing? Is there not good data that's being moved? So a lot of people will set up this send email, and so it can notify you, let's say if there's a failure. It can also notify you if a maps or an integration's been successful. So once again, we use this a lot in our office. I'll bring it back to that support hours example again. Once that integration is created or that invoice is created, it also SmartConnect also creates a project for us, and it sends an email to our services team letting them know that company XYZ has just purchased 2 hours of support. So our services team is aware when people purchase support hours as well. So always a good way to use that. You can also run files, run scripts, run maps or chain those maps together. Right, earlier I had mentioned I needed to create your customer name before I could create an order. Okay, so Angela needed to enter her name first, so SmartConnect first ran that integration, and then afterwards it actually created an order for her. So we had those maps chained together. Once one completed, the next one ran. So you can also do SQL commands and SQL validations. And then one thing I'll just mention here, I don't have any set up in this specific example, but we can also do things, let's say the document fails. What do you want to have happen after that? Or if it succeeds, what do you want to have happen after that? So an example may be if it fails, you know, run integration to CRM still. So you can set up different tasks for criteria if a document fails or succeeds as well. Okay, a couple more things. Underneath the scheduler, earlier I mentioned that you can schedule out your integrations to run. So whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, once every 6 weeks, you can schedule this to run as often as you would like. You can also have it start maybe at your work day, the start of the work day, and end at the end of your work day. You can set this up however you would like. Okay. One more thing I want to show you before I hop out of SmartConnect itself is everybody knows that data is not perfect. And so when you have data that fails, we have this process errors button up here. Okay. And so if I go ahead and I'm just going to open one here, we're going to see that this is going to give us the error that happened, right? So with inside a NAV or Business Central, you're going to see the same error inside of SmartConnect here as if you would have entered it yourself inside a NAV. So we're still using the same business logic. You're still going to get those same errors back. But the nice part about this is you're going to be able to update this record and then rerun that record right from in here, okay? So where this becomes really handy is, let's say you're moving 10,000 records and 3 of them fail. You're going to be able to see those 3 records right within here, correct them from right within this screen, and just rerun those 3 records and not needing to do all 10,000 records again. Okay, so let's go back into our PowerPoint. Okay, I'm actually going to exit out of here first. All right. Okay. So the power of choice. So I like to just mention that if you do have options when it comes to SmartConnect. So we do have the option of SmartConnect on-premise, which is actually the tool that I just showed you. Or we also have SmartConnect.com, which is our cloud-hosted version. Okay, so there are options available out there. Maybe you're using Business Central. Obviously, I'd push you to the SmartConnect.com, the cloud-hosted version. Okay. One thing with that is Innovia or your salespeople or the consultants over there can definitely help you decide which version is better for your scenario. So certainly reach out to them to get a better idea of what version of SmartConnect you should have. So a couple last things here before we get into questions. We do have a 30-day trial available for SmartConnect on-prem, and there's a 14-day trial for SmartConnect.com. So certainly feel free to reach out to Innovia. We'll help you get that set up if that's something you're interested in. So Angela, if you'd like, I could go ahead and take questions if there are any.
Yes, we do have a few that have come through. If anybody else has any more, feel free to type those in. So the first question is, what versions of NAV does SmartConnect support?
Sure. So as long as you have a web service, which is actually back in 2009 R2, I believe NAV started having web services. So essentially version 2009 R2 and higher, since they have those web services that we're able to connect to.
Okay, thank you. And is there any difference between how many, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Is there any difference between how you connect at NAV versus BC?
No, so we use web services in both scenarios. So as long as we're able to publish the web services inside of Business Central or inside of NAV, we're going to be able to get to both of those.
I'll make one other comment on that, is that
Sure.
there are a couple of different authentication types, and so you can accommodate several of those authentication types. So a lot of times people in the Business Central world will be using a different type of auth instead of an on-premise installation, but it'll work either one. You just have to find the one that you're using.
Okay, thank you. And does eOne work with databases on different servers?
Chris, you want to take that one?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't explain that one very well.
Sure, jump in there. Yeah, certainly. Again, it's really wide open. What Alicia showed you earlier was connecting to a SQL server that was sitting out in Azure. So we certainly, yes, from this little sandbox that we showed you from, we were connecting to a SQL server out in the cloud. But it could be not even a SQL server. It could be a MySQL server. It could be some other type of database server that has an ODBC connection, or Alicia mentioned it briefly, but web services is probably one of the biggest areas where people are connecting to some cloud application. Maybe it could be like an expense management solution or an e-commerce solution. Those are really big popular ones. And we can connect into their APIs or web services and bring that information, either bring it into NAV or push NAV information out to it.
Okay, thank you. And is this OData capable? Did I pronounce that right?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, so
Should I jump in
SmartConnect.
that one again?
Yeah, you can if you want to. Sure.
Sure, I love this stuff. So yeah, OData for certain. If OData is a REST-based web service, and we have a generic web service adapter that you can connect to anything that has an OData endpoint, and you can bring either, again, use it as a data source to pull data into NAV or Business Central, or you can actually use it as an endpoint where you push information out to. So yeah, either way, it will work with OData, or even some REST web services aren't OData specific, but it can work with those ones as well.
Okay, thank you. And does it work with custom objects and extensions?
Yeah, definitely. So it'll work with custom objects, extensions, as long as we're able to have a web service put on those objects or extensions.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Chris and Alicia. Looks like those are all the questions we have for today. Please feel free to contact us or the team at eOne with any additional questions you may have. And thank you, Alicia and Chris, for presenting today. And to everyone on today's call, or if you're watching on demand, thank you very much for joining us. And we do have a few more webinars coming soon. On Tuesday, January 22nd, we have Tom Doran from Innovia Consulting presenting on requisition worksheets. And then we have Richard Lee from Dynamic Web presenting on making product information management a priority. And that webinar is on Tuesday, January 29th. All right, thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon on another Innovia webinar. Have a great day, everyone.